What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. We got a great show planned for you guys tonight. As always, apologies for us being fashionably late. It's not an episode of the Red and Gold Standard Podcast if we're not 10, 15 minutes late. You know us. But we got a great show, like I said, planned for you. We're going to be talking about the new coaching additions. We're going to be talking about the Senior Bowl. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, and we're going to be talking a little bit about, maybe free agency plus the draft. If we get there, we got a lot on the docket tonight, so we'll see what we get to. Before I toss it over to my guys, if you're watching on X, make sure you hit like and repost the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and do us a huge solid. Go to both channels. Go to Nothing But Niners, hit like and subscribe. Go to 49ers Hive, hit like and subscribe, and then stay and watch the rest of the show because you're already there. If you're watching on Twitch, I don't know how many people watch this on Twitch, but like and subscribe there too, because we do stream to Twitch as well. Now that I got that out of the way, Matt, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, Zach. Grilled up some carne asada for the fam tonight on the grill out back, and had a good old time. Got some mango habanero all to myself because nobody else in the family likes spicy things. My wife usually does, but she's pregnant right now, so she's not really into it. But good meal. Just the cleanup's a pain in the ass. So, other than that, I'm great, man. How are you guys?
Good. That sounds great. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Have you guys ever heard of yum yum sauce?
Yeah, is it like Asian yellow sauce?
So every time I hear about it, it's something different. I thought it was something that came with like Chinese food, right? And then
I think so.
My wife and I were trying to find somewhere to get lunch the other day, and there's this chicken place by us, and it said yum yum sauce. So I'm like, all right, I got to ask the guy what this is. It's basically like what they called it. It was mayo, mustard, and hot sauce, I think. No, mayo, ketchup, and hot sauce. Like kind of mixed together, like as a yellow sauce. I don't know. Not yellow, it was like a pink sauce on the thing. My wife got it, and she does not eat spicy stuff, Matt, which is why I brought this up, because it was mixed with hot sauce, and she ordered it and loved it. I thought it was the strangest thing. So I don't know. She doesn't do well with spice, but I know mayo products and milk kind of take the spice away from things.
Allegedly. So it also depends on what type of hot sauce. So I'm a hot sauce connoisseur, dude. I eat a ton of hot sauce. I have all the last dabs. I've tried the bomb hot sauce, which tastes like shit, by the way.
Did you do the hot ones challenge? Have you gone through all those?
Yeah. The bomb is the worst one. It's so processed and chemically. I don't mind heat, but heat and tasting like garbage.
Yes.
Bad combination.
Yeah, it's not meant to taste
for the sake of heat.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So all of those artificial hot sauce where it's we do extract of whatever. I'm not into that. But people, who grow these Pepper X, Carolina Reapers, all that stuff, if you're using the actual pepper in your recipe and you use the other flavors that you would normally use, I'm all about it. So, yeah, the yum yum sauce indistinctly. I'm looking at the original yum yum sauce, and it just says hot sauce. So it's really nondescript. Are we talking Tabasco? Are we talking jalapeno? Zach will tell you out here in California, you walk into a Mexican restaurant and you can tell just by looking where it's going to be hot, where it's going to be not. Orange sauces out here in a Mexican, that they're going to be hot. If the oil separates at all, that shit's fucking. Yeah. If you gotta reconstitute it, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah. It's the stuff.
Green sauce that's just straight up salsa verde, that's fine, right? But if it's a creamy green sauce, that shit's gonna be hot.
All right, so
there's rules to the game.
I got one more hot sauce question for you guys, and you guys might think that this is disgusting because apparently the West Coast doesn't like Chipotle, but They have these 3 different hot sauces. They have this Chipotle sauce, then they use a regular Tabasco sauce, but then there's this green one. What is the green one?
Tomatillo.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's
it's a type of pepper.
Yeah, it's like a green little tomato looking. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like a little green lemon. Think of that.
Yeah, and they use different usually poblano as the pepper base. Tommy Huxley, I do not hate habanero. Dude, I just made mango habanero carne asada. You were a little late for that. Yeah. I think habanero is a really good balance between heat and flavor. I think that's actually good. When you start getting into Carolina Reaper and Pepper X, That's when you start getting like it's like a little out of hand.
I don't know if I've ever had habanero because it's always mixed with mango out here, and I don't like the sweet, spicy like that. Like I'll do a spicy barbecue is like my shit, but I don't like the tropical spicy. Sweet. I don't like that.
See, that's me with mint chocolate. I just feel like those are two flavors that should not have anything to do with each other. So I don't know. Speaking of sauce, real quick, did you guys ever see that shit with that girl on TikTok who was selling pink sauce? And she like started it out of her kitchen, her apartment, right? And then she started like mass consuming or selling it because people were like wanting to try it because it was just pink sauce. This lady got a bunch of people sick. Like it was like getting every batch was different shade of pink because she's like, I use dragon fruit and I use this.
Oh God.
It ended up getting into Walmart, and I'm pretty sure the whole company's gone now, but it was nasty. Yeah. Jason says, I saw how she made it. It was nasty. Yeah.
Gross.
Anyway, enough of sauces.
Tommy's a chef. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
That's cool. That's cool.
We should. Hey, Nigel Crane says Hot Ones challenge stream one day. I'm down.
We should do.
I'm down. I literally have
mine on
3 different versions of the Last Dab in my fridge, and I use them.
Yeah, I was gonna say they make different ones, so it depends on what year you buy it. You'll get different sauces in their little 10-pack or whatever. But I'm down for it. I mean, that's something that we should like get together one time for and do. I'm with it.
When we reach 1 million subscribers each, that's what we'll do. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All right. So obviously the biggest news over the past 5-6 days since we last recorded, Hot Ones draft day 3. That's what Joey says. Yeah, maybe.
Dude, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah. Robert Saleh is back, ladies and gentlemen. 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh has returned, back like he never left. Obviously, his stint in New York didn't go as planned. He lasted 3 years, if off the top of my head, if I want to say. But the Jets are a joke of a franchise. They fired him when they were 2-3, competing for number 1 in their division. You know, we all know how it went, but he's back. And the 49ers prayers have been answered. Our prayers have been answered because the 3 of us on this show, just last episode, we're talking about how worried we were. The 49ers are going to be left at the altar waiting for Robert Saleh, not really doing their due diligence on other defensive coordinator candidates, only for Robert Saleh to take a job like the Jacksonville Jaguars. And last show we did was when the Liam Cohen to the Jags news broke. And it seemed all but, inevitable that Saleh would be back, but it waited until Friday night for that to actually happen. How you guys feeling? How you guys feeling about Saleh being
First
back?
of all, I know you guys saw the clip of Liam Cohen at the Jaguars presser.
Yeah. Saying Duval.
Boy.
Mac, you didn't see it?
Oh my God. Oh my Mike, you didn't see it? Oh, please bring this up.
I gotta pull this up.
Dude, this is Dan Campbell, Jonathan Gannon, Nick Sirianni, times 10. It's the worst.
It's so cringy.
And then his head motion too.
Duval.
Like he thought he was cooking right there.
Duval.
I love the look on Mike's face right now.
Duval.
Yeah,
he looks like one of those fuck boys.
He looks like Nick Foles.
Yeah. Well, like the classic you're gonna shower without me. Like he's got that facial. You're gonna lose the AFC South without me. He just looks fucking hella fuckboy. It's funny, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Listen, he's gonna follow in the footsteps of Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker, if you know what I mean. That's what he looks like.
Justin Tugger.
Yeah, Justin Tugger.
We made it past 8 minutes. We're good. All right. Matt, how you feeling about Robert Saleh being back?
The head motion. That's what gets me. He thinks he's got hella riz right now.
Yeah.
He thinks he's all rizzed up, dude.
The head motion and the eyebrow.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. Well, I think if you look at just stills of his face is just kind of lopsided, to be honest.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not blaming him for that, by the way. That's not a shade at that.
Is it possible Baker Mayfield just got 2 offensive coordinators, head coaching gigs? Like Dave Canales with Carolina and now Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen if Baker's out there. So
Yeah.
Shout out
Anyway,
to Baker, man.
shout out to Baker. Back to the 49ers, Robert Saleh. Matt, how are you reacting to this news? How did you react?
This like a B hire to me, to be honest. Not because of shade for Robert Saleh, but like how long are they going to keep him? You know what I mean? I don't think there's ever been, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's ever been a head coaching candidate or a guy who was fired as a head coach in midseason one season and then was hired as a head coach the very next cycle. I don't think that's ever happened. So the 49ers felt comfortable betting that Robert Saleh would be available to become their defensive coordinator and then bided their time. And much like, a gambler who's been around the scene for a while, they know where to, kind of lay down their chips and in what circumstances. And the 49ers were kind of out there counting the head coaching jobs like a guy would count cards. And they bet a lot. And we were sitting here getting kind of worried about it. But in retrospect, I kind of think that it was somewhat of a shrewd move. They wanted him from the very beginning. And not counting Pete Carroll, who I don't really consider to be a rehash, and not counting Mike Vrabel, who was clearly like an almost nepotistic pick for the New England Patriots. Every other head coaching position has gone to a fresh face, like a new guy.
True.
So it's good to see that new guys are getting jobs, and Pete Carroll left of his own accord, right? And it seemed like Vrabel was a guy that New England had targeted right from the beginning. Other than that, it seems like all the new guys got jobs. And so that didn't bode well for Saleh actually getting a head coaching position. So I think the 49ers definitely made an informed guess, an educated guess, a little bit of a gamble on who they wanted to come back into the building. So from that aspect, schematically, it's what they like to run. He is going to bring just, that little bit of extra pizzazz in terms of energy, but it's still going to be a familiar defensive scheme. Eric Armstead did come out and very much, loud the selection, said that he's like a schematic genius. So that bodes well for the 49ers for 2025. But are they going to be in the same position for 2026? I don't know.
Right. And I learned, Mike, I'll go to you real quick. I learned that you needed to be a coordinator for 2 years if you move on to be a head coach in order for that team to get the 2 third-round picks that the 49ers got when Saleh initially got the New York Jets head coaching gig. So if he were to get poached next year for a head coaching gig, they would not be on the benefiting end of those 2 third-round picks, unfortunately. Mike, what's your reaction to this?
So it's two-sided for me. I was kind of like excited at the possibility of a scheme change, right? But Saleh has shown some flexibility in the scheme, and he offers different fronts. It's not always just a 4-man front and things like that. So that's pretty cool. And I think he's learned a lot after stepping away and running his defense. I don't think that the Jets defense was ever like the issue all the time, right? Like they always start games pretty well, and then it's like the offense just failed so much it kind of let them down. And we've seen those type of games here all the time, right? So we've seen it before. When the offense stalls, the defense eventually just tires and breaks down, and then there's a lapse, and it kind of trickle down effect from there. I've been going back and forth. At one point I was like, all right, good. At least we got the familiar face. And it was like, man, I hope that they like work something out. Like, hey dude, like not for nothing, you got to stay here at least 2 seasons. Like I was hoping that they did that. And then it went to, all right, Saleh's going to get back to the coaching fundamentals. If nothing else, the missed tackles should cut down on this team. The angles that the safeties take should be improved. So the tackling should be better. And that in and of itself, if we're not leading the league in missed tackles, we have a much better defense than what we had the last couple of seasons. So overall, I'm back with it. I like Matt's grade. If we have to put a letter on it, I like a B. It's probably B plus. It's a really, really good grade, because I think Robert Saleh, this is what I settled on. I think Robert Saleh is going to improve the overall performance of the team, right? I think that this allows Kyle to really just walk away from any kind of worries about the defense. There's no more watching that guy to see if I need to have any input. I think Kyle trusts Robert 100%. Like that is going to be his baby, and I think that allows the offense to take a step or two forward this year. So I'm all aboard the Robert Saleh rehiring. I think if it was somebody new, someone unfamiliar to Kyle, he's still going to be doing that helicopter parent thing, like watching over Wilkes too closely, watching over Sorensen too closely, and worrying about like, oh man, I got to pay attention when the defense is on the field and when the offense is on the field type of thing. So I think this allows Kyle to get back into his bag, his specialty, his forte of being a mastermind offensive coordinator. So I think it helps the team immensely.
I'm very happy about that. It almost reminds me of when the 49ers drafted Jake Moody. Obviously, it didn't work out, or it hasn't worked out the way they'd hoped. But Kyle said, now hopefully I don't have to watch tape on a kicker for like 10 years. It kind of seems like that with the defense. A lot of the time throughout the game the game plan installed throughout the week and during the actual game itself, it seemed like Kyle was kind of distracted or preoccupied worrying about the defense, worrying about the calls. Is this going to go right? I have to take a timeout, look at the Super Bowl, infamous play, unfortunately. So I think there's definitely a lot of comfort there for Kyle, knowing that Robert's here, he's back. I know what type of coach I have in him, so I'm not going to have to preoccupy myself with those sort of duties anymore. We got a super chat from Sean. So you are saying with our offensive struggles, Saleh will feel like he is still in New York. No offense.
Yes, all offense. What I was saying is the offense won't struggle that way because Kyle can focus his energy on that completely. So I think that we'll see an improved 49ers offense. I think Kyle is comfortable with Brock Purdy, and I will probably end up getting to that later. I know a couple of reports came out about Brock Purdy, so I'm sure we'll end up touching on that later on. But I think that Kyle trusts Purdy to run the system the way he wanted to. This is going to be Kyle in year 3 with Jimmy Garoppolo that's the floor. That's how I feel about his comfort in being able to either mask the deficiencies in his quarterback or, play to everyone's strengths on the offensive side of the ball. I think we get a little bit more of that this year.
By the way, we have this quote from Tim Kawakami, 49ers throwback. Thanks for commenting it. Basically, I think 49ers leaders from York to Kyle Shanahan to John Lynch are trying to set this up for Saleh to stay with the 49ers for more than 1 year. At the very least, they'll make it easy for Saleh to be picky about the place and timing of his next job. I wonder if he's like being cheeky because they expect him to make a deep playoff run, or maybe because he expects Saleh to have a top-ranked defense and he'll have pick of the litter. But that would be nice. Definitely getting him to stay for more than a year.
But what does that mean, though?
He just got that information from me. All it means is that, we're going to be trying to keep him here for more than 1 year.
Right, but if he gets a job that he really wants, he's going to leave. And there's not anything that they can do about it. Yeah, that's
right, of course.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like calling water like wet. The sky blue. Like they wanted to be here for more than one season. I would hope they wouldn't want to go through their fourth coordinator in 4 years or whatever, or be on their fifth.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that would be the case. I think that's just adding to a piece without really saying anything, to be honest. No offense to Tim Kawakami. He's got, he's writing whatever he's told or whatever, but I think you can infer that with just a little bit of, a little bit of brain power. Just rub the two brain cells together. It's like, of course they want him to stay.
Well,
like I can guarantee you that he didn't sign a 1-year contract with the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. No.
So duh, right? Like,
yeah.
Come on.
And they made him the highest paid coordinator or defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Did they?
They did that. Well, that was what the reports were. All reports coming out that if Saleh takes the defensive coordinator job with the 49ers, he will become the highest paid defensive coordinator.
I don't think we actually have numbers on that though.
I don't think.
And I don't even know if they're. I don't even think they like head coaches and player contracts they make available. But in terms of do we know how much John Lynch makes? No. Like we don't know how much most coordinators make. So.
Yeah. And by the way, the highest paid coordinator to the lowest paid head coach. I can't imagine it's a small gap. Like I'm sure we're talking a difference of $10 million a year or something. I don't know. I can't imagine. Who knows? Maybe Spags is making crazy money with the Chiefs. But usually head coaching gigs are very well paid as opposed to compared to coordinator gigs, and it fully guaranteed. Coordinators are not fully guaranteed. If you're in a 2-year contract or a 5-year contract, you get fired year 1, you're not getting paid for the rest of those 4 years as opposed to head coach. Robert Saleh's still getting paid out that Jets contract. Although I'm not sure how the offsetting works. If he took a coordinator gig, I don't know if that offsets at all. I think he still gets
I don't
paid,
think it
right?
matters. He still gets paid.
He still gets the full contract. So good for Saleh. He's not hurting for money. Was there anything else about Robert Saleh you guys want? Oh, I know what I want to talk to you guys about. Mike, you talked about an immediate change, immediate impact when it comes to tackling, when it comes to, leadership and his coaching capabilities. How about all the Jets players being like, yo, my guy got a job. Like, my guy is back. There's a solid list of unrestricted free agents from the New York Jets. I would be very hard to believe that not at least one or two of them don't follow him over here. Possibly DJ Reed. I've seen people making the argument that is it Jamian Sherwood? Their linebacker was their top tackler this year, had 98 solo tackles, and the 49ers, maybe Saleh convinces them, but it seems like it's Dre Greenlaw or Sherwood, and I don't think Sherwood has the injury history that Greenlaw has, but Greenlaw is also kind of the emotional spirit and heart and soul of the defense. So it will be interesting to see. Last question on this. Are there any Jets players, or free agents, I should say, that you guys, I could pull them up here, that you guys maybe predict or would hope Saleh could lure over here with him?
There's a safety that they have from over there, and I
Ashton
don't
Davis.
I don't know if he's any good, but he brings the speed element. Maybe play him at the free safety spot, just to put somebody back there. We know that I don't know if you guys remember when we got what was my man's name? Adrian Colbert. Right, it was reported that he ran an unofficial 4.2 740 or something like that. Right, like Robert Saleh, one thing that he does value at the free safety position is some speed, and so we have that history here. That might be something that he's looking at. If I'm not mistaken, the guy has Davis is like a 4.3 40, so very similar to the Adrian Colbert type speed, as opposed to what we've seen the last couple of years here, where it's just like, oh well, we have slow ass Huff and we have slow ass Brown and we have slow ass that's not going to be the case anymore. They're going to put some speed back there. And, you combine that kind of speed and reaction time with the angles, the proper angles, and we should be okay.
Sorry, I shared the wrong screen. I was trying to share their free agents.
The free agent, yeah.
Did I close the... Oh, it's right here. Just so you guys have it for reference, and so the chat has it as well. These are their unrestricted free agents.
They have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever to Grant Cohn.
Yeah. and not for nothing, I would take a look at him. He played every single game this year for the first time in his career. Yep. And we said it. I won't say we. This was something that I was telling people. Like, we've invested so much in this guy. I wouldn't have been mad if he came back on another prove-it deal for the Niners. Like, we finally got him healthy. He played his second most now games in the season. It's like, you know what? I would bring Kinlaw back, even if as a rotational guy. I was saying that when he went to the Jets. And then he goes over there and he has, a career season. So I wouldn't be mad if they brought him back again. Again, familiarity with the system, and he's a bigger body. He's stubborn against the run. All the things that we were missing, all the things that we were hoping to get something out of Hargrave, he can be that guy. So I wasn't mad. I wouldn't be mad. I know a lot of 49er fans are going to go through their PTSD with him and all that, but I don't see a reason not to. I'm not going to bring money into it. I don't see a reason not to.
Yeah. So I 100% agree with you with Kinlaw. We were saying this last offseason, or the end of last season, going into the offseason, because the second half of last season was really good for him. He put some really good tape on film, and it was impressive to just see him consistently fight through the injuries that he had and finally show up and kind of be that run stuff for the 49ers hoped to get when they drafted him. So I'm with you on Kinlaw. You mentioned Ashton Davis earlier. He is the lowest current APY on this chart, and he's only 29 years old. Definitely brings some speed. How about Tyler Conklin? The 49ers have desperately wanted a second tight end. Mike, I know you're eyeing one in this draft, but if they don't plan on drafting one, maybe they could snatch up Tyler Conklin in free agency. Now, I know offensive player, defensive coach, but still there's some familiarity there. He was the head coach of the Jets, so he still knows Robert Saleh. And are either of you intrigued by Hassan Reddick, or is he too much of a liability to want to possibly go down that road?
I think that he's not going to take less than what he's getting right now. He just had a prolonged contract dispute to begin this season, so I don't think that he's really going to do that. DJ Reed is somebody that I'd take a look at for sure. 29, you can get him a couple years, that'd be okay. But this list is incomplete because Jamien Sherwood is a free agent and he only makes $958,000. He's going to want to get paid a little bit. So if you are looking to go that route, he's down there as well. Over the Cap has an extensive free agent list for them.
Got it.
I wouldn't even guess that Reddick would come here. I don't think the Niners are looking to break the bank on an edge guy, and I feel like that's what he's looking for. Obviously the holdout for as long as I don't even know when he actually started playing for the Jets this last season, but I don't know if I would really take that risk with him. He seems like the type of guy that if things just aren't going his way, like he'll just walk out on the team. And we've already suffered through that last year. I don't think we're going to do it again.
Agreed. Here is the over the cap full list of Jets free agents. Sorry, it's tiny. There's a lot more. So, like Matt said, Sherwood is on here. Jamien Sherwood, linebacker. So it could be somebody worth taking a look at. You guys want to bring Isaiah Oliver back? I'm just kidding. So
it's interesting seeing the percentages of the snaps played. Sherwood is the highest and by far on that list, 92, over 92%.
Yeah, look at that.
Snaps
wow.
played. Like it's not even close. So,
well, like I said, he was their leading tackler. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Healthy guy out there, and he's very young, right? Like, yeah, that's the kind of guy you go out there and you take a flyer on. He's not going to break the bank, obviously. He'll get and the position that he plays is one of the lower ends of roster as far as APY. So you go out there and you take a look at a guy like that for sure.
Now, if this is a guy that could get in addition to Dre Greenlaw, I'd be all over it. I would be all over it. Imagine him being your third. It would kind of, remind me of Al-Shaair, Greenlaw, and Warner when they had all three of them healthy. But definitely anybody but Devondre Campbell, because that was an absolute nightmare. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about with Saleh or Jets or free agents, or do you want to briefly touch on the special teams coordinator? That's what I have next on the list.
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about the special teams coordinator.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let me pull it up here.
And this was a solid hire for the 49ers too. It's not the best guy. I think that I don't think any of us even knew that the Cowboys coordinator was going to be available. I think he was probably the best one available. But this isn't a slouch either. This is a guy that survived multiple regime changes with the Jets, and the Jets do absolutely nothing consistently except suck. But special teams wasn't usually one of their biggest issues. This is a guy that could bring a spark to the 49ers, that passion and all. You can see it right away when you're watching him on the sideline and things like that. It's been highlighted it's all over X right now. You can see the videos of him, pumping guys up with the fake kicks and things like that. So I like it. I think it's a good look for the 49ers. I think it's a step in the right direction, and it shows that hey, we're not going to just sit around and be like, oh well, whoever can come in here and just do whatever they want. No, this was really good to see. The hire was just as important as Kyle walking away from Sorensen to me. So I like it. It's a good complimentary move. Again, something else that Kyle won't have to worry about. And it shows, in my opinion, that he's starting to change his mindset. Maybe he values the third phase of the game just a little bit more than he did in previous seasons.
Thank God. But yeah, so they hired Brent. Is it Brent? Boyer?
Brent.
Yeah. Brent, thank you. Who spent 9 seasons with the New York Jets. Like you said, Mike, he survived, I think, 3 head coaching regimes with the Jets. When you get a new head coach, all of those previous coaches are gone. So the fact that they retained him, or are at least on the chopping block, right? It's up to that head coach, the new one, to say if they want to keep him or let him go. The fact that he survived 3, I think, speaks a lot to the type of coach he is. It's really impressive. The 49ers put out this statement. I'll read it to you real quick. Boyer, 53, joins the 49ers after spending the previous 9 seasons as special teams coordinators for the New York Jets. During his Jets tenure, 2016 through 2024, Boyer led a special teams unit that ranked tied for second in total touchdowns with 9, second in blocked punts with 8, and tied for 5th in special teams points with 63. An opponent kickoff return average 21.8 yards. Under Boyer's guidance, 2 players, Braxton Berrios in 2022 and Andre Roberts in 2018, earned AP first team All-Pro honors as returners, while 3 players, quarterback Justin Hardy, Roberts, and kicker Jason Meyer, made Pro Bowl appearances. Prior to his time in New York, Boyer spent 4 seasons as an assistant special teams coach for the Indianapolis Colts. He helped guide the Colts to top 10 ranks in NFL yards per kickoff return, net yards per punt, field goal percentage during that span. So he's clearly, and also on top of all of that, he played. He was drafted in the 6th round by the Miami Dolphins. He played linebacker and special teams for 11 seasons with the Dolphins. Another 5 seasons with the Jags, 11 seasons with the Dolphins, Jags, and Browns. He played a total of 129 career games. So he's not just a coach. Like he's played the game. He clearly knows it. He's played special teams. I love this hire. I fucking love this hire. I'm hyped. This is like an A+ hire for me. This is as good as it could have gotten. I know we talked about the Cowboys coach letting go. To be honest, I didn't even know about Brant Boyer, right? Like I'm not that in tuned with special teams coaches that are on the block. He was a great hire, really good hire. And this tells me Kyle is not fine with settling for, average or below, horrible, not even average. I wish I was average. 28th, 29th, 30th ranked special teams units consistently. And maybe I'm going way too far out on saying this. Maybe this guy can save Jake Moody. Probably not, but just maybe. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Matt, what's your take on this hire? You was excited.
First of all, I would be shocked if Jake Moody was back.
Same.
Like shocked, legitimately shocked. I think anything above them keeping Nick Sorensen in house is going to be looked at as a win. I do think that it's impressive that this guy survived 3 regimes with the New York Jets, who are quickly climbing the ranks as one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the NFL, along with, the Cleveland Browns of the world and, things like that. But yeah, it's nice to get a different perspective in the building. Not somebody who was in the building, not somebody who was over their skis, who aren't qualified for a job. All things considered, both with the defensive coordinator and with the special teams coach, the 49ers have done their, due diligence and at least getting people who have a proven track record at the position. So win to them for that. And hopefully this means that, 49ers special teams will be much improved. I mean, even something as simple as being, middle of the road,
right?
Right. 15th, 16th in the league is so much better than 29th, 30th, 31st last. And it can really make or break your season. I expect everybody on special teams to get a big look, from tape, from everything else, and that's not only Jake Moody. That could be somebody like Mitch Wishnowsky. Like, is he going to be back or are they going to let him go? There's an opportunity here to do a little bit of churning. Even some of those backup linebacker positions or backup DBs where they usually have them play special teams, everything's on the table and this guy knows what he's doing. And like Mike alluded to with the Robert Saleh hire, where you trust somebody like that, hiring somebody with this level of experience at the special teams position just leads me to believe that Kyle is going to be even a little more hands off of the special teams as well, more than he usually is apparently, and it won't be detrimental. So this allows Kyle to do what he does best and actually scheme offenses. And so if the 49ers get improvement, not only in injuries, but in all 3 phases of the game, and they can retool the roster a little bit, then they're going to contend. They're going to be there in the playoffs again. And I think that's something that we're all looking forward to.
I agree with that 100%. Mike, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And the one thing I think that Saleh and Brant Boyer are going to bring to the table that you're not going to get from guys like Sorensen and Schneider is that they're going to have input on who is on their roster, right? So when you go back and you listen to Schneider's introductory presser and things like that when they introduced him, they were like, well, who stands out to you on the 49ers that you are excited to get your hands on for special teams? His response was like, to me, immediately like deflating, like, oh God, like this guy's just here just to be here, right? His response was, well, I don't really have any control of that. It's really about the offense and the defense, and then I get left with whoever is like, no. If you are a special teams coach worth your salt in anything, you either have a guy that you're eyeing in the draft that's a top gunner or a top return guy, right? Like, just give a shit about one of those guys because they change the entire dynamic. We're talking about field position on both ends, whether you're kicking or receiving, right? I don't think that this guy, as well respected as he is from the players, from his peers in the NFL, is just going to come in and be like, all right, yeah, I'll just take anybody and then see what's left, and then I'll make it work out of that. He's going to come in with an opinion. He's going to come in and say, hey, I understand I'm a special teams coach. Let me get one of these draft picks in the 6th or 7th round. Like, let me get my guy to come in here and do this. Let me get one free agent that I can come in here and do. And we saw the Niners kind of change that up last year. They targeted 2 or 3 specific free agents to throw to the special teams unit. But then because of the inundation of injuries, it was like, all right, well, now these guys are starters and we got to shuffle it all around even more, right? But this guy is going to come in and say, hey, wait, I need at least this guy and at least that guy. I don't have a doubt. I don't think that he's going to have a blind alliance or allegiance with a kicker who is struggling for no apparent reason. You're not injured. The snap was perfect. The hold was perfect. That was a makeable kick. What the hell is your problem? I don't think he's going to have a problem telling Kyle and them, hey, this was your guy, not my guy. Get him the hell out of here. I don't want him back. I think that he's going to have the balls to tell this to Kyle Shanahan, because he's coming in, as much as everyone respected Kyle as a offensive coordinator, that's the same level that this guy is coming in as a special teams coordinator, and that's going to carry some weight. All of a sudden, we have 3 people in their respective positions on offense, defense, and special teams that are going to have some say. It's not just whatever Lynch says or whatever Kyle says, and that's going to be it. These guys are sincerely going to be working in, I can't say tandem, what's the word? But the 3 of them are going to be working together to develop and come up with something here. And I'm excited about that, if nothing else.
Mike, you talked about, or Matt, you talked about how much of a difference it would be going from 28th, 29th ranked special teams just to 15th, right? Just give me above average. Give me top half of the league. I just want to remind you in the chat, both of you guys in the chat, in the 2021, I think, playoff game. When did we go to Lambeau? Was that 22? 22, we went to Lambeau, right? Last playoffs with Jimmy. The 49ers were the 31st ranked special teams unit. And all year we were like, Jesus, man, this special team sucks. We were screaming high tower at the top of our lungs every time something bad happened. Well, the Packers just so happened to have the 32nd ranked special teams unit. And what was the changing play in that game? A blocked punt, return
Jordan
for a
Willis.
Touchdown. Yes, Jordan Willis.
Yeah.
Got his giant arm up there. Talanoa Hufanga cemented himself in 49ers history. Caught that ball, ran it in. So special teams matters. I know there are people out there that says special teams isn't anything important. Just kick the damn ball, catch it, run it back. It matters. It changes games. It absolutely changes games. I think the 49ers gave up 3 fake punts this year. Like, that shit's embarrassing. That shit is embarrassing. And if your special teams coach is just like totally okay with that, he shouldn't have a job. So I'm happy they spent top dollar, went out and got a top ranked guy in Brant Boyer. And I finally have high expectations for the special teams unit, dependent on who is kicking. If it's Jake Moody, maybe I'll temper them a bit, but I can't imagine he's back. Like Matt said, I really don't think he's going to be back. I do think they grab another guy, hopefully as an undrafted free agent. Hopefully we won't spend a pick on it. But I do see reports that they're meeting with kickers that are, in the draft or, whatever it is. we'll see. Any other thoughts on Brant Boyer and his addition to the 49ers, or do you guys want to move on to prospects, Senior Bowl? Yep. Okay. Mike, I'll start with you. Moving on to the Senior Bowl, KJ Wright is there, the 49ers linebackers coach. Dare I say possible next defensive coordinator? I don't know. Maybe too soon to say. He's there. He's coaching up those kids. Who are one or two, whatever you have, who are you keeping a close eye on at the Senior Bowl for the 49ers?
For the 49ers in particular, my top guy at the Senior Bowl is going to be Elijah Arroyo, the Miami tight end. This kid, is someone that, there it is right there. Boom. This kid is going to be special, guys. And the problem with him is availability, right? He had 2 seasons of injuries, some setbacks, but he runs routes like a wide receiver. He bodies guys at the point of attack. And he's got really, really solid hands. Now I posted this tweet here, and that was like a couple of days, maybe 1 or 2 days into just Senior Bowl practices. And then all of a sudden, if you guys just go and type his name in on X right now, you will see highlight clips of him just routing guys up. He runs routes, I'm not kidding, like a wide receiver. His change of direction, he knows the moment when he puts his foot in the ground and sees a DB bite, he can change direction so easily, and he just finds the open spot. This guy is going to be really, really good. He is going to be a sleeper. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to say he's going to be a sleeper. I think he's already turning heads at the Senior Bowl, and then when he gets to the actual combine, finally healthy, he's just going to continue to climb up the charts. If you were to look at draft books and draft sites prior to the Senior Bowl, most places had him going 4th, 5th, or 6th round, right? I guarantee you guys that this guy is coming off the board in the first 3 rounds. I guarantee you. And when I say first 3, he might be one of the first, if not the first tight end taken off of the boards. Like he's going to be that good. So this is my favorite guy, head and shoulders of everybody at the Senior Bowl right now for the 49ers. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that he's the most talented guy of all the people there, of the entire Senior Bowl roster. I'm saying for the 49ers, a need that we have here, this is going to be the guy. This is the one.
Got me excited, man. I've been hoping the 49ers get a second tight end soon. Matt, did you have any you wanted to go?
Let's hit up our guy Gray Fox, who hit us up in the super chat.
Thank you. Yes. Gray Fox with a $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Gray Fox.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Just dropping quickly to show my support. I'll watch it later. Saleh's back and the vibes are through the roof. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think something special is brewing in Santa Clara. Super Bowl, is it 60? 60 is at Levi's at ours. Love you all. Yeah, man. Thank you, Gray Fox, by the way. The vibes are great. Last offseason, the vibes weren't great. This offseason, the vibes are great. And there may be something else to end the show with as to why the vibes might be much better come August and entering September. Thank you again, Gray Fox 198. We really appreciate having you as a subscriber, as a viewer, and a part of the Hive. Matt, all right. Back to the show. Thank you again, Gray Fox. Who are you keeping a close eye on for the 49ers in this Senior Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, there's one guy that showed up impressively on tape for me. I'm relegated to the fact that the 49ers really need to work in the trenches, and I'm hoping that they go more offensive than defensive early. But I do think that they're going to address the defensive line, and somebody that I think that could be had on day 2, maybe even early day 3, is Darius Alexander from Toledo. He's a defensive tackle. He had like a 90-something run grade for PFF this last year. The biggest thing for him is just consistency and the fact that he is one of the older prospects that you're going to see. He's actually a 6th-year senior, so he's 24, I believe. I think that he could be somebody that the 49ers can take a flyer on with upside, and maybe even get him in there quickly to do some damage. But if we're talking about the 49ers, the last couple seasons have really been giving up, a lot of rushes up the middle because they've been soft. This guy can certainly help with that. So yeah, Darius Alexander from Toledo.
I like that. For me, is still on the trenches, but on the other side. A month ago, we were talking about Abdul Carter and how maybe he could make it to the 11th pick. I'm not so surprised. I wouldn't be so surprised this kid goes 1. I mean, the way he has shot up draft boards, the way he's shot up just rankings, mock drafts, I can't imagine he gets past the 3rd or 4th pick, to be honest with you. So unfortunately, I don't think Carter is a realistic option for the 49ers. That then shifts my focus, my attention to Mike Green, the edge out of Marshall. This kid's been putting on a clinic at the Senior Bowl based on all the reports, all the videos I've seen. He's got some great stuff on tape. Mike Green could be a guy the 49ers take at 11. Could it be a little rich? Maybe, but it would still be a great pick. And ultimately, if you take a guy 5 picks early, does it really matter? I mean, no, you're not going to be looking back in 5 years. If Mike Green has 15 sacks in 2 years, people aren't going to be, well, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to matter. So that's my guy that I'm keeping an eye on. Mike, do you take anything out of the fact that KJ Wright is the coach that's there and maybe they're keeping a closer eye on defense as opposed to offense? Or Matt?
By the way, Lynch is there too. John Lynch is there too.
Oh, thank you.
And
yes.
they've been for offensive tackle, like offensive line and defensive line together. They've been really focused on that. So I expect, like I said, I expect a very trench heavy draft.
Yeah. I have a couple of guys here at various positions. So one of the centers that I was looking at also, his name is, I'm going to probably butcher his last name, but it's Jonah Monheim, 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 is how it's spelled, from USC. And this is a guy that probably 2nd or 3rd round type guy, and that's before the Senior Bowl. He played center with the Trojans. And I think that's where it's just going to be interesting, because when these players and these linemen get to the Senior Bowl, oftentimes they play them in other positions. What I'm hoping for is for the Niners to draft someone who played a position. Don't draft the guard and try to make him a center. Don't draft the center and try to make him a guard. I, for once, want the Niners to just stick to what these guys did very well. So Jonah is a guy out there. Now, he does have history of playing center and guard, and he's even got a couple of snaps at tackle, but I would use him as a center. He's a guy that can do some good there. Another center that I have is Jared Wilson from Georgia, 6'3", 310. He is a guy that I think, he's up and down, and when he went up against top when he went up against top guys, it was all right. Like right in Clemson, their season opener last year, he played well in that game. But Wilson, he's a better run guy than he is a pass defender, right? But you can get better in pass pro, especially if the rest of the offensive line is good around you, right? So you want a guy like that to come in and play really well. On the defensive side of the ball, we're talking about the trenches still. Tyler Barron is a guy that we could probably use opposite of Nick Bosa, right? Another guy. I know some people are like, oh, well, what are we going to do with Floyd? Blah, 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 right? I don't know how that's going to play out, but this guy is 6'5". He's only 260, and he has a top 100 pick grade on him on the site that I go to. And it says here, he says, Barron was an active defender for Miami in 2024. He had 38 tackles with 5.5 sacks and a forced fumble. Last year, which means 2023, he had 6 sacks with 28 tackles. He has a very good skill set, upside to develop, and if he performs well at the Senior Bowl and the Combine, he can continue to be a riser. Again, this is a guy that is probably going to go in the top 100. A really, really good name to keep an eye on. And those are my guys in the trenches. There's another guy. This guy is going to be probably further down under a lot of people's draft boards, but his name is Charles Grant. Now, the reason he's going to be further down on the draft boards is because he's coming from William & Mary, the school out in Virginia. So it's a small school, and this is what's going to give a lot of people pause. Because it's such a small school, they're not going to give him a ton of looks. There's going to be some hesitancy. A good combine and a good Senior Bowl obviously will help people get some eyes on them. Then they'll start to review the tape, and the highlights are all that are going to come out. When you watch this kid's highlights, they're going to be like, wow, oh my God. But again, it's going to be about the competition that he faced, right? So during training camp in the 2024 preseason, It says here he was identified as a small school prospect who had some buzz, according to NFL team scouts. As a senior, he stayed consistent with strong play from previous seasons and earned an invitation to the Senior Bowl. He has enough size and quickness and athleticism. He hits that trifecta there. If he plays well, and I don't know how he's doing because I haven't talked to anyone who's actually been there, but if he plays well, he's going to be a riser.
Can you repeat that last name?
Grant. Charles Grant.
Okay, got you.
Is his name. Again, super small, like, again, William and Mary, like, it's not it's not one of these top schools where all these studs are coming out from, but this guy dominated where he was. So this is a guy that I really, really like. And now, here's the thing. He's a left tackle. And if the Niners get him, I would like him to keep him as a left tackle. Obviously, you're going to cross-train him, especially if Trent Williams plans on coming back. You cross-train him, you get your swing guy, and then in the time that Trent is ready to retire, you plug him in right away back at left. He's only 6'4", but he's 300 pounds, and I think this guy is going to be really, really good.
Interesting. There is, by the way, Steph Sanchez of Steph Sanchez 49K has a tracker of all of the players the 49ers have met with. If you guys want to go to her X page and check that out, it's actually really helpful. Mike, you do have a question here from a super chat from 805 Blackbeard. Mike, do you think Graham or Campbell will be at 11?
I personally struggle with predicting the the top 10, especially without combine stuff. The combine really changes where people go. You realize how much teams value athleticism, right? So here's what it comes down to. Especially when you're talking top 10, right? You want supreme athletics. Quarterbacks are going to always muddle up the top 20 picks. They always fuck it up, right? The best quarterback in a draft could probably have a second or third round grade, but he's going to go in the first round. So when you're talking about the top 10, it really, really fucks it up, guys. I'm sorry, this isn't a cop out, but anybody right now without the combine happening, it's a crapshoot. It's honestly, it's a crapshoot. It doesn't mean that the guys aren't talented enough to go there, but it's about team needs, how the draft is stacked, trades and moving around and all that stuff. It's just too hard to call right now. So I want to reserve the right to come back and review Campbell, review Graham, but we got to wait until after the combine. It sucks to say it, right? The talent's there. The talent is definitely there. These guys could both worthy of top 10 picks, but I just don't know how the draft is going to fall. So it's not a cop out. It's just way too early to tell. To come in and definitively be like, yeah, they should be there. You have no idea. They go out there and they blow it out the water. These guys might go top 5, right? There's a lot of people saying, oh, should the Niners take a flyer on Shedeur Sanders? I wouldn't touch Sanders in the first 3 rounds. I don't know how much his game is going to translate to the NFL. Talk about a guy that holds the ball too long, and that's with his dad, like telling, hey, like, you need to get rid of the ball quick if you want to go early. But again, a quarterback with a 3rd-round grade might be the best quarterback in that draft class, and he might go top 5. So you just don't know how it's going to go. I can't hear you.
Look at Purdy.
Yeah.
Right.
Best quarterback in that class.
I do have one more name that I like, and this is along the lines of, Zach, you talked to earlier about maybe, hey, let's bring over, Jets tight end Tyler Conklin. What about, this guy went to a big time school, has NFL pedigree. His dad's a first ballot Hall of Famer. His uncle is a Hall of Famer, and that's Mason Taylor from LSU, tight end. He is only 20 years old, but he's at the Senior Bowl anyway. I think he was a junior, and I think he graduated, which is why he was able to go to the Senior Bowl. 20 years old, doesn't have a ton of numbers, but then again, a certain tight end on the 49ers didn't have a ton of numbers at Iowa either. So he's 6'5", 250, 255, had like 540 yards, 55 receptions this year, a couple touchdowns. Mainly is like more of a receiving threat. Very good on like rollout blocks, something that the 49ers do like to do on play action sometimes. He's a good check and release, not really an inline guy for running in terms of blocking, but that's something you can kind of work on with him. Just really, really interesting prospect to me, and it's somebody that you can get in the 3rd round, maybe the 4th round, and take a shot on a guy. So I see Pockets asking me who's his dad, Jason Taylor from the Dolphins.
Does that mean his aunt is a certain Joy Taylor?
Yes, but we don't have to talk about that. We're talking about the uncle.
How did this kid get into college? I'm just kidding.
Oh shit! All right, okay.
I think having a Hall of Fame dad and a Hall of Fame uncle, because
that might help.
Yeah. So
I have one last one, and then Mike, if you want to finish, did you have anything else, Mike? Dad?
I got another tight end, but go ahead. You can go ahead.
Speaking of the offensive line, I keep seeing reports. I haven't looked into much, but he's all over X this past couple days. Last time the 49ers used an early pick on a North Dakota State player, didn't really work out that well. I don't think he would require the 11th pick by far, but North Dakota State offensive tackle Gray Zabel, is that how you pronounce it? Zabel. He's played guard, he's played tackle, and at the Senior Bowl, he's got good tape playing center. The 49ers desperately need a center. I know me and others have advocated for them to sign Drew Dahlman away from the Falcons, but that would probably be a hefty contract. If they could draft a player and plug him at center, you're solid for at least 4 years. So Gray Zabel is a guy I am keeping a close eye on for the 49ers. He could basically play the entire offensive line, it looks like, and be a day one starter at almost each of those positions. So that's my last guy. Go ahead, Mike.
And that's a phenomenal value and steal right there. The other tight end that I have is from UCLA. I'm going to butcher his name. I think it's pronounced Mybookie.AG. This guy is 6'6", 263. And he's got, a late day 2, early day 3 grade on him right now. But again, all of this is subject to change based off of how they perform at the Senior Bowl and the Combine, right? This guy reminds me of a George Kittle type guy. Obviously not the height, right? He's 6'6". This is a big guy. But he is a tough technician. This guy is a blocker at heart, but he also, when given the opportunity, can come down with some really tough catches. He had 41 catches for 506 yards last year and 2 touchdowns. And he's I think he's going to be a good guy here that we can watch out for him. And then there's one more guy. Last name is McLaughlin. He's going to be another guy also that the Niners are going to really get a good look at there. So those 2 guys are going to be fun. And I even have a kicker for you guys from the Senior Bowl. For you guys from the Senior Bowl. If you guys are just tired of Jake Moody, his name is Caden Davis, the Ole Miss kicker. He was invited to the Senior Bowl. How the kickers are doing, I don't know. They're probably not going to have many reports on it, but this guy is an 83% career kicker. So we'll just see what happens. He's only got a long of 57, but we know the Niners aren't attempting many field goals longer than that unless the game is on the line anyway. So, he could come in here and do a good job probably.
Okay. There we go, guys. Senior Bowl, something to keep an eye on. They got the 11th pick, finally have a first-round pick, and it's high. It's top half of the first round. I'm excited. There are a ton of different options the 49ers can go here. All of them should be able to contribute day one. Did you guys want to preview the Super Bowl real quick? Nothing too depth, because I'm sure we'll get into it in the next show, but
I'm not watching that shit.
Okay. All right.
I'm not watching it at all. I couldn't care less.
I'm calling Cap.
Everybody has said that to me. Like, I literally don't lie to people. I'm not fucking watching it.
Are you working?
No, but I'd rather spend time with my family than hate watch a Super Bowl with 2 teams that I can't fucking stand. I have better things to do with my day.
I understand that. What's going to be on your television during the Super Bowl, Matt? Like,
either Miss Rachel or video games.
Get the. I don't. I'm calling Cap, and I want to be wrong, and we'll revisit this after the Super Bowl. But I promise.
But hold on. But nobody's coming to my house. My wife doesn't give a shit about either of these teams. Like, my daughter requires a lot of attention right now. Like, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna watch this shit. I'm telling you right now, I'm literally not gonna watch it. I will live stream from my phone what's on my TV if you guys don't believe me. I could not care less about the Super Bowl. I'm not going to watch it. And this is the only way to get the NFL to pay attention to some of the shenanigans that they try to fucking pull the wool over our eyes, but that we all know is there. We all know that Josh Allen got that first down, and we all know that who was it? Kincaid got it the play before. We all know. We all know.
Speaking of that, Troy Aikman, I thought, has this interesting quote. He said, there's a lot of money changing hands with these calls. I think we owe it to the fans that we get it right. And I think we're at a point in time where we can get it more right. So that was really my position, and just trying to lean on the NFL and say, hey, we got to fix this. We got to address this in the offseason.
The technology that exists in the world of tennis that can tell us if a ball hits the line and is in or out, the technology that we have that can tell you, pretty much to the inch how far a golf ball is away from the hole. There's no excuse for us to be having referees jogging out from either side and dudes holding chains anymore. Right. You can put a small, very lightweight GPS tracker in the ball that will tell you exactly where on the field, down to the millimeter, where that ball is and where the first down is using laser sights. Yeah. I mean, they have fenceless, or they have like non-physical fences, I'm sure that you guys know, for dogs. For dogs, if they go past it, I'm not sure the exact mechanism. I think it shocks them a little bit, or like does something unpleasant. But like, if they can do that for an animal, we can't get football calls right. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, let me tell you how the collars work, because I've done the invisible fence on my dog to train them. Yeah. So what it is, you literally go out and you take a wire and you just line your yard with the wire. Okay, you can bury it if you want. You can leave it on top. It's lawnmower safe because it's a very thin wire. And as the dog approaches it, it beeps. And the dog is like, oh, what was that? Right? So they pause for a second. Then once they step over it, it's a little shock. It's like, oh, let me get back. Oh, and then it beeps again. Okay, you're safe again. This is a terrible area to be in. And I'm, as someone who has used it, because I have had terriers who are like notorious hunters, or just game dogs. They chase anything. If a leaf blows across the ground fast enough, they'll run after it to see what it is, right? I have had, you guys know my last dog was a Dogo Argentino or Argentine Mastiff, right? Like, these dogs are very territorial and all that stuff, and I need to like make the lines. My yard isn't fenced in. However, my neighbor to one side is fenced in, and then my neighbor next to her is not, but the one next to her is, and then across the back of my yard is all fenced in. I needed them to know where our property lines were, and it works like gangbusters. It is the best thing ever. Do it for 2 weeks for any dog that recognizes and can learn, and you don't even need it anymore. Just put a collar on your dog, and he won't go across the line. Now, with that said, Matt, I agree with you. The most infuriating part of that that sneak was watching one line judge come from here and watching the other line judge come from here. Yep. And as they're walking, the guy that would have given them the first down was this guy, ends up doing this, and then all of a sudden.
And by the way, the one that came in to give him the first down was actually the one that was facing the ball side, and the other guy only had Josh Allen's back in his
exactly.
Yep.
So someone out there needs to make it make sense. It was a travesty.
Well, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is they looked at it on replay and then still decided, yeah, no, he didn't get it. I'm like, I can see that clear as day. Everyone can see this clear as day.
I give a little bit of pushback on the replay aspect for one reason. It was damn near impossible to see the actual ball, right? We could see his head, we could see his shoulders, we could see the torso where we thought he was holding the ball. But to actually physically see the ball,
but when you,
all the different angles they showed, like it kind of hit it.
Inferring,
I mean, a little inference, right?
Here,
I mean, isn't the job of being a referee to actually make judgment calls? Like, to use your brain reasonably in a reason, like, you know what I mean?
So I'm with you, right? But here's what the issue was, right? So once this guy that was up, once the guy that was up here came down to where the other guy was. Now that's the call that you're forced to try to overturn that. So without the physical ability to see the ball, you're stuck. So basically, it was like, oh, Josh Allen was carrying the ball at his nutsack because that's what we called the first time around. Like, it's just you shouldn't let a game that important be decided by that. So I'm with you on your argument.
And again, this is my argument towards. I mean, listen, everybody here knows I'm a huge baseball fan. They have the pitch track on the game where you can see, and then in the minor leagues they have the robo umps. Paul Skeens, who was dominant last year in MLB, was actually very famous in AAA for challenging balls and strikes, which you could do there. And they use the actual tracker to let you know if it actually touched the strike zone or not. The fact that they can do that in baseball, the fact that you can have this in golf, the fact that you can do this in tennis, and you can't do it in the American sport that makes by far the most amount of revenue. You can't fund GPS tracker in the tip of the football on either side, and it doesn't really matter. You can have the whole ball be like a GPS.
Yeah,
Matt,
what I mean? They've had the technology available to them for over 5 years.
They put it in the shoulder pads.
To use it.
Listen,
exactly.
Next gen stats showing me how fast a running back is running on a touchdown run, or how many actual yards that he covered. And you're telling me in one of the most important calls of a game in the AFC Championship, and they're doing the fucking chain gang thing.
They're eyeballing it.
Fuck out of here with that shit.
They can tell us exactly how fast a ball was thrown. Clearly, you have some sort of tracking device
in the ball,
so you can't decide or decipher where it ended up.
I one of the things that I do in my free time to literally relax and like unwind, right?
Punch holes in your wall.
Not anymore. I will pour a glass of scotch, right? I'll light my hookah. And on my big screen, I go to the most HD channel I have, and I will watch golf. And this is before I had the biggest HD TV I've ever owned, right? It is impossible to see a ball on the initial drive, like just to see it, right? But now they have this technology where you can see if it's a draw, if it's a fade, you can see all of it. And they track that ball in the air so beautifully. It's like, wow, the technology is incredible. The NFL is intentionally doing this, and it's not right. So I am with Matt's argument, just to be clear. I am on your side with this.
And by the way, this is one of the reasons why I'm not watching the Super Bowl, because the only way that the NFL is going to do anything is if ratings start to fall. They don't do anything because ratings are stronger than ever, and people will watch these games and do all this stuff. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't want to see Kansas City three-peat and watch 10 hours of Taylor Swift shots. I don't want to see Philadelphia win and, watch Jalen Hurts and that fucking idiot Nick Sirianni celebrate anything. I don't want to hate watch something. I have better things to do with my time than spend 6 hours because of all the stupid fucking commercials that are going to be on. And by the way, if you're watching the Super Bowl and you want to tell me just watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, watching anything for commercials is some hoe shit. Like, you need to go out and touch that.
I will say this. Unfortunately, this is not the Super Bowl to boycott if you're worried about their ratings crashing. Unfortunately, Philadelphia is one of the most densely populated cities in the country, so they're gonna get the ratings
in more ways than one. I saw the reports on their reading levels.
Yeah, come on, man. My wife's family is from Philly. I'm so glad she can't hear you. But my point is, unfortunately, it's gonna be on just from Philadelphia alone. It's gonna be on, it's 7 million.
Well, but when you think about it, I don't have the numbers for me. Let's see, ratings.
It's not you not watching isn't going to change the.
It depends on the level, right? Like,
because I'm with you, right? Like I've decided I'm happy for 2 players on each team. Either Hopkins gets a ring or Saquon Barkley gets a ring, right? And that's kind of all I'm hoping for. I love football too much to not watch it. I do respect the people who say I'm walking away from it. I don't have that level of discipline. I plan on hanging out with my pops. I'm going to be in the basement smoking cigars. We're going to be talking shit and hopefully playing some cards or something while it's all going on, and the Super Bowl will be on in the background. But I do understand. Unfortunately, Philadelphia, one of the larger markets on the East Coast, is going, and it's going to be all over the TV. So,
could you imagine DeAndre Hopkins wins the Super Bowl championship and he ain't done shit? I forgot he was on the Chiefs. He's done so little.
Yeah. But that was kind of my point, though. But he's a player that 1,000-yard guy no matter who was quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins, and like Terry McLaurin is the next closest person I've ever seen to him, like regardless of who their quarterback is. Mike Evans, maybe you can give him that also, right? It doesn't matter who his quarterback is. They're going to go out and they're going to get their 1,000 yards. They're going to go out there and earn it. So I respect, I got a level of respect for those guys.
Imagine being washed by 30 though, because by 31, you know what I mean? Like,
Mooney called him steroids, boy. So
yeah,
maybe he had a little bit of something to his game earlier on.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see.
We got a question here from Mark. Question for the panel: if the 2023 NFC title game didn't go down the way it did, would we be rooting for Philly?
No.
I still say no. So hear me out.
If the NFC title game
Mike, go ahead.
Wait, I don't understand
with
this.
Purdy losing there and all their shit talking and the animosity between.
Whoa! I don't like either of these teams, but I don't like Philly because I live here and their fans are fucking obnoxious. Like, period. Like that's it. I don't like Philly because of their fans.
Yeah. That's also my stance on it. I don't like I will never root for any Philadelphia sports team because their fans screwed up for everybody.
This team won the NFC Championship game, right? And there's a guy who has to walk back to his car through the city, and he's doing it, and it's him and two of his buddies, right? And like this guy just walks up and snatches his hat off his head. What the fuck? Like just. Like now, granted, no one got beat up.
A Commanders fan.
Yeah, that's true. A Commanders fan. Let me. I should have clarified. Right, a Commanders fan, and the crowd is giving them all the shit. Women are walking up, smacking them on the ass, like, "Oh, good game." Right? Football, we understand that. Outside of football, that's sexual harassment, right? Like, but this guy just walks up and snatches his hat off. You're not going to wear the hat. Like, what are you doing that for? Yeah. Like, what was the purpose in that action? Like, and that right there is why I don't want Philly fans to like even have anything to celebrate. If they win out here, my job is going to be complete chaos. Like it's going to be chaos for the next week, but I mean, it is what it is, so
it's there are certain cities where this is the case too. Boston is another one off the top of my head. I'll never root for a Boston team because their fans are losers. Like, no offense, dude. If the police or the city works people got to go out and grease the light poles because you idiots are going to fucking climb it just for watching someone else win a football game, like, dude. And this is my other thing. Like when, people say I'm going to watch the Super Bowl, I don't know. Like, I mean, Mike, you should know by now. I know Zach knows. Like, I'm a different type of fan, man. Like, I don't let sports all encompass me. I don't let it fuck up my day. Like, I got better things to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine. Like there was a 18-year-old kid that like fell off one of the grease poles and died. Like that. Think about that. The last thing that you did in this life was climb a pole to be like, "Yay, Eagles! Super Bowl, Philly! And you fell and you died.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. Like good job.
It's a mess. I don't know if you remember last time, but the fan like literally, and I wish I was exaggerating. He literally ate horse shit. You tell me you guys saw that.
No,
I didn't. You know what I did see though, and this is another fan base too, and this is just baseball. This is just baseball. Fuck the Dodgers. I'm just gonna say that. Fuck the Dodgers. But I did see after they won the World Series this last year, a guy try to light an M80 and literally blow his hands off.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I did see that. Sheesh.
And Ian Sharp is correct. This is all Darwin Award shit.
Yeah.
This is again Philly's reading level. You know what I mean? Like this is can't read. Probably going to climb a light pole. I'm just going to say that.
So I specifically don't want the Eagles to win because then we have to hear about we're the ones that did it. You guys couldn't do it. We're the ones that took down Mahomes. Only us and Tom Brady have done this shit. Jalen Hurts with his fucking Instagram caption ass speak. I can't stand it. I will not be able to stand it. So whatever. Let Mahomes and the Chiefs three-peat with their tainted dynasty. Everybody knows this shit isn't fair, which, by the way, 49ers have been saying since 2019, these motherfuckers cheat, and we got called salty losers. Oh, crybaby, cry about the ref, get over it. We've been saying this shit. Bosa guy held. Yes, the whole league knows now. So
false starts, False starts on every passing play.
Yes.
Right, by their right tackle. Right. And by the way, no coincidence, he's the most penalized offensive lineman this season, right? Like, oh shit, who knew, right? The fucking 49er fans, we told you dumbasses this years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden it's like, oh, they got all the calls. Oh, you guys are the 40-winers, you're the 40-winers. It's funny how every fan base that has had to play this fucking team in any meaningful game is saying the exact same thing that we've been saying. It's incredible.
That's what I said I think it was it last week or possibly even going back to the Texans game. Can you guys think of like one playoff call that didn't go the Chiefs' way? Like controversial, big penalty or non-call that did not go the Chiefs' way? I can't think of a single one. Every single one went in favor of the Chiefs. And I think that's why fans are so sick of it, because it's like, okay, like one or two, sure, whatever. But consistently, they get either the calls go against their opponent, or the non-calls they get on their side. The holdings that don't get called on 3rd and long, they just happen to magically convert. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed on that 4th down stop after Josh Allen, the Bills got the ball back. There was a magical flag. There was a magical flag, and people were joking like they were going to throw a flag on the Bills for holding if Kincaid caught the ball. But because he did it,
they were like, "Oh, it's incomplete."
The flag
pick it up. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
100%. 100%.
This is the shit that pisses me off about the NFL because of how much time and energy we invest into it, right? And then I'm always constantly. I heard a woman say on a podcast a couple of days ago, "What's the difference between the?" And she wasn't asking like being a smartass. She was sincerely asking, "Well, then what's the difference between the NFL and like WWE?" Right? And the truth of the matter is they are both registered as entertainment businesses. The NFL is not registered as a sport.
Nope.
It's an entertainment business, which means they reserve the right to
guide games the way
outcomes,
guide. Yeah.
Like, did you guys know that an official had the right to just award points if they felt like it?
I had no idea.
What the fuck was
that? Was
that?
crazy.
That was insane.
I heard that, and I was like,
we're legally allowed to award them points.
So just let them go. So we can't try to stop this play.
Well, to be fair, they did jump like 4 times.
How else?
And
so what?
By the way, and they still didn't award them points. What they said was I guess the rule is if they feel like you're griefing or doing it on purpose, then they'll just award points because you're like ruining the integrity of the game. Now, if it would have been the same guy jumping over the top over and over, right, then that would have been the same. That wasn't
the case. He did it twice, and then another offensive.
I know, and that's why they didn't give him points.
But Matt, here's the thing, though, right?
It's not like listen. Do we know if it's in the rule book or not? Like if it's in the rule book, then
people came out and said that
then it's in the rule book. That's just how it is. You know what I mean?
But no one knew that fucking rule existed until it favored the Chiefs. Is my point? Though.
No, but that was Eagles, dude.
I mean, I'm sorry. I meant the Eagles, but okay. So here's the thing, right?
I don't think there's ever been 4 straight offsides penalties on a team before either.
They were hard counting from 22 seconds and down. At some point, someone's gonna jump. Someone's gonna bite. Like that's
right.
It's not like they were just doing it for no reason. It's not like they lined up and just jumped over the line.
Watch the ball. Just watch the ball.
He was coming from behind the defensive line. He can't see the ball.
I mean, they're on the 1-inch line. Are you really going to stop that shit? Probably not. Like,
who cares?
It was first and goal.
It doesn't mean we can't try.
Sure.
Do you remember that preseason when Jim Tomsula was our head coach and the Niners had 5 or 6 straight stops from the 1-yard line? Like that, we celebrated that shit. We were like, oh my God.
This was like the 1-inch. When you keep getting penalties and it's like half the distance to the goal, at some point it's just like, fucking, are we even going to move the ball? Like, what are we doing here? Like, it was 4 straight penalties inside the 1-yard line. Like, at some point it's going to be.
Stop hard counting.
And again,
like, you got to even that shit out. Is my point.
Yeah.
But this goes to another reason why I absolutely fucking hate Philadelphia, because Nick Sirianni was doing that shit on purpose just to like troll.
Absolutely.
And that is annoying. But like it is a rule. Like I'm not gonna harp on the refs for like actually doing their job correctly. What I don't like is when they do clearly play favorites and clearly do their job incorrectly. So if they make a good call, it's a good call, even if it's against the 49ers. There's been plenty of times where people are like, that's a soft call. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like the DB literally tugged his jersey. Like that's the letter of the rule. If it happened to us, we'd be pissed if they didn't call it.
Yeah, I'm that guy also. I'll be like, guys, I understand you're upset, but like, come on, like that was real. I did post in the comments. I didn't post a video. There is a video, but I did post the picture of the guy
eating shit. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, so that's out there. We have a super chat that we have to get to.
Yeah, and then we'll wrap up here. From Baust the Gamer. I know he pulled out of the Senior Bowl. What do you guys think of Armand Membo? Daniel Jeremiah mocked him to us. What do y'all think?
So this guy, he's an offensive lineman.
He's from Missouri, right?
Yeah. He's the Missouri offensive lineman. He's 6'3", 314. This guy, he started as the right tackle for Missouri, but everything that I've seen on him is that he's weak, bro. Like, he just doesn't have the strength to play tackle. Like, he's gonna get blown up. This is gonna sound weird, right? But if guys are playing wide nine or playing off the line of scrimmage, like, he just doesn't have the counter move. Now, it doesn't mean he can't develop it. Again, he's 314, right? So he's got some weight to him. He's got to learn to anchor. He's got to get better. In 2022, he started 5 games, and then he took over for the right tackle position in 2023. He's a good run blocker, though. He is very solid when going forward. It's the pass protection for him that's going to be an issue. Now, they said that he pulled out of the Senior Bowl. There were a couple of guys that went. They worked out, but don't plan on playing in the games, and they left. He is one of those guys. That tells me that his workouts went in favor of what he did. Maybe some of the one-on-one snaps and all that stuff, it did look good for him. I don't know if he falls to the Niners. I don't know if the Niners take a flyer on him. I'll tell you this. He can't be much worse than McKivitz. That's all I got for you. Yeah. He can't be much worse than McKivitz.
Where are they mocking him to us at 11? Because if they mock us to him at 11, you can't take a guy like that at 11.
So the site that I respect and that I use have him as a day 3 guy.
Which one?
Early day 3 guy.
Which one do you? Which one?
I don't. I'll type it to you.
Put it to me in the chat. Yeah.
I don't say it on here.
Put it to me in chat. Yeah.
And every time I share this with people, they're like, "Oh no, they're bad. They're bad." And you know why they say that they're bad? It's because when you play your mock draft simulators, it's their board. But when you step back and you go back and look at it, these guys are like 80% as far as like within 60 picks, they're right there. So I respect this site and I will continue to use this site. People hate this site so much, and why, I don't know. But they are within.
Don't say anymore. You're going to give it away.
Yep. So that's the site that I continue to go to.
It's
if I don't know.
Former NFLscout.com.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that guy. Hey, you know what though? Like, I'm pretty sure he was very much correct on Trey.
He was on it. He was on it.
So I owe that dude nothing, but I will at least give him partial flowers for the Trey Lance.
I don't think any of those quarterbacks hit, to be fair, but he was right.
Literally none of them.
Yes. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Mike, please let the folks know where to find you. I'm sure they already know, but in case they don't, please.
No, I'm not even going to forget where to find me, man. You guys go out here and make sure you guys subscribe to the 49ers Hive channel right down there underneath Zach. Zach, point to underneath your armpit. There it is right there. Boom, right there. 49ers Hive. I'm only promoting those guys. These guys put in a lot of good work. They make sure we get these shows prepared for you guys, and I have a great time doing the shows with them. So 49ers Hive is where I'm telling you guys to go. Forget nothing but Niners.
Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate you. All right, guys, without further ado, Matt, take us home.
Yeah, look, we got the guys that we thought would be best for the team. I actually mentioned the Jets guy last week, and they gambled on Robert Saleh and won. So that's exciting stuff. Senior Bowl, draft, free agency coming up. Football's dead to me until then. Fuck the Super Bowl. I don't care. The rest of you can watch it. I hope you guys have fun. But thank you, as always, for joining us here tonight, talking football. Even when the 49ers aren't involved, it's a game that we all love. So thank you, guys. We couldn't do this without you. For Zach, for Mike, for myself, we love having you here. And until next time, go Niners.